more like Matisse. What am I doing?
You're thinking about the lines, right? So,
Yeah.
these lines together. But basically, I'm thinking about the lines. If I draw this, look like a circle. But, the line is just an indicator. It only really makes sense because it's associated with the point. So, for example, when you look at these three, good moment, telling moment, it's quite all. So you see the arm here? Yeah. So look at this. The arm comes up because the plane of the arm is like this. And then it cuts, the line cuts down and comes to the chin. So essentially what it does is it transitions from the arm to travelling up in this direction. And suddenly it changes direction and it goes that way. Which isn't just a change in direction on the flat plane. It's also a change in direction on the cubic plane, because then it transitions to doing that. So this moment is a transition in the flat plane around that circle. But this moment is a transition across in space, cubic. That's key. So you'll see it with eyebrows, for example. So you'll notice that an artist like Cassandra will draw the eyebrow. Okay. And to the socket here. And the line of the solid will become the eyebrow. So the socket, the forehead comes down, transitions into the eyebrow, and then the direction of travel is like this. And people often think, well, okay, yeah, it's just about transition. It's not, because essentially it also gives a technical effect. So it can be that too. It's travelling down, and it transitions across and down. And all of these transitions are transitioning plane. So that's just that's like a horizon. You can't see what's beyond there, because that's the end of that plane. Right? But you notice it. And that plane comes in, it transitions into a plane that's going in that direction at that point. Right? Downwards, right? At the same time, the brown follows the course of that plane, and it dips. So that plane isn't just coming that plane, it's coming that way.
So that's the illusion of moving.
Well, essentially, if you were to draw a three-dimensional form only using dispensing with auto, how would you indicate volume? The only way you can do it is that. So the reason it looks like a line, like a flat thing, it's illusory. It's illusory because you can tell just by looking at it that that breast and arm further away from that head. How do you know that? Because of this part.
It's just the shoulder being closer to this than the head.
Well, it isn't. It is, but it isn't. This is a line drawing. It's actually on the same plane as everything else. But something tells us that this is further away. And what indicates that is the fact that we discern that this line isn't merely the line of the chin, it's also indicating the movement of the collarbone, shoulders themselves across to the other shoulder. And we know intuitively that means that this is a line of shoulder through space away from us, to diagonal in space. So although all these lines are happening on the surface, they make sense only because it's just thinking about volumes.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
It's very challenging. People often try to learn to draw like Picasso, not so much Matisse. It's quite unusual. It's also Matisse. This is the one from my head every time. This is my idea. Oh, okay. That's actually extraordinarily clear lines. You were an architect? Oh, okay. Okay. So, clear like that for describing what you see, which if you were to present this sort of decide to be a draftsman with a year of doing it, you'd be very sharp. Good. Well, one thing I would say is, let's just talk about the next. We'll talk about this drawing. I would say this is going to be both about line and actually. I was just saying before. It's just kind of like karate here. Wax on, wax off. Really basic stuff. But basically, the line is the thing that on the wall, and it's constantly flowing. What you're always doing is volumes. So, for example, if I draw Cassie's head, and then I can open her spine, and then my immediate next door is open. Cubically speaking, here's her goals, that's the angle. If I come up the body, there's her shoulders, this is the hand, but those shoulders are working, right? So shoulders can vary, but the shoulders go up and down, and depending on the pose, what we can do that. So bodies can round about, but in this instance, those are immediately kind of relevant facts because it's essentially a straight pose, seated cross-legged, or not cross-legged, but just seated on the floor. Means that her pelvis is aligned with the floor, everything's in horizontals. So what I've done essentially is I've gone into two dimensions, straight away, well, 3 dimensions straight away from it, down the spine, I want to see the kind of basic movement thing, then I want to go away from it, so the sense of volumes. And then, my next thing will be to think, okay, well what volumes am I talking about? Okay, so we've got the rib cage, and then down here we've got the pelvis. Okay, and I'm thinking about these volumes. And then I'll push it out into the thigh. Just the basic structure of things. So when it comes to being difficult in the leg, I'm thinking, okay, those toes in below the shoulder. So that's where the foot is, my thigh is. The pelvis. You can now sort of start articulating things like this, the shoulders, the trapezius muscles coming from the back of the head, solidify things a bit. Yeah, so they're doing that. And the traps do the same where they go across as well, so you get sort of function of the shoulder. There's the scapula there, just sort of showing itself at the top there. See if it's there. Just up there as well. And then the oblique muscles down the back there. Very much up here, top of the pelvis. And then there's the spine. So all of the lines I'm making relate to the sense of the volumes. That's kind of where I was heading. And then when I lay in tone, I'm going to jump straight up to tone. Jump out of this, into tone. My tone generally, I want to relate to the volumes. So for example, if I draw, let's just go back to this drawing. I want to lay in some tone. I'll try not to go volume while I'm doing it. I was going to use hatching, which I typically don't. If I were, then I would use the hatching, lay it in such a way that I was beginning to sort of speak about the volumes as I lay it in. So I wouldn't just lay it in this series of kind of diagonal lines. Try and make them sort of a bit elegant. Yes, so, so they would talk about volume, and also, as I'm working my way down the form, I'm constantly thinking about this, so there's a muscle here, and down, I'm constantly feeling where the plane transition goes into the obliques there, and then maybe coming to catch the light. And you'll notice that the tone marks follow the form. And then here in the place of the spine, very flat. So that I'm always thinking as I'm drawing, and this is not because I'm doing this, because it's the artist. I'm always thinking, okay, well what is it I'm talking about? It's not just an outline, imagine entities, it's not a flat thing, which is what I consider a kind of paper. What I'm drawing is the body, so it's the thigh. And for example, here at the knee, everything flattened out. So my tone marks will indicate that. I suppose what I think is something. That's what I was saying. So So your tone of the drawings will be precise, and I would say maybe just look at so yeah, exactly. There you go. Feel your way through it. You want to get this correspondence going between what you're looking at and the marking, so that there's a sympathy. And because you're who you are, the way that your drawings will look in there will be unique to you. And the more you get that relationship right, the more honest the drawings will. Which is where one branches off from the emotions to start, the emotions to start. Quite often people do things to start. And I would say, if you just sort of follow your own intuition, okay, what's going on there, and you can't find a language for it, that will be the style that is true of you, just like the signature of your signature. Right? That's what I would say. So let your tone follow the form, and let your line indicate what the form is.
Good.
Good drawing, sir. Very nice.
Minutes, everyone. Last minute, everyone. So much, Cass. A round of applause for our magnificent model. Okay, so thank you so much for coming along tonight, everyone. It's been very nice having you here. If you do want to join us again on a Wednesday, we are here next week, as always. But also we have a class in the Topolsky Studios over in Waterloo.